Good afternoon. My name is Tim Johnson. I'm Associate Director for Museum Programs here at the National Museum of the American Indian. I wanted to welcome you to our Living Earth Festival's 2014 Symposium, Energy for Change, Green Leaders Building a Sustainable Future. This is our 8th annual symposium exploring climate change and the issue of sustainability of our remarkable planet. In the past, this series has presented scientific research and findings on the observable, measurable, and evidentiary changes occurring within our atmosphere, our oceans, and upon our lands. We've delved into and shared, where appropriate, American Indian cultural precepts that offer diverse understandings and perspectives on the relationships that exist between human beings and those life forms, energies, and elements that sustain and support our existence. And we've reviewed a range of existing technologies that can and are being applied in the service of securing a viable outcome for our future generations. I'm particularly excited about this year's program because we've assembled 3 highly accomplished leaders in their respective professions and communities who are all about getting things accomplished. Today we will take a look at new projects that are helping to build a clean economy and promote local job creation, energy savings, and greater self-reliance. Chairwoman Aletha Tom of the Moapa Band of Paiutes, who successfully worked to move from coal to clean energy, will speak about the replacement of the coal-fired plant that was impacting her community with the first industrial-scale solar energy project in Indian country, the Moapa Southern Paiute Solar Project, that will provide clean solar energy to the city of Los Angeles. From my home community, Chief Ava Hill, Six Nations of the Grand River, will discuss Six Nations' joint venture with Samsung on the Grand Renewable Energy Park, which will generate enough clean energy to offset thousands of tons of CO2 each year, while powering more than 1 million homes and creating jobs for Six Nations in the province of Ontario, Canada. And Rebecca Moore, founder of Google Earth Outreach and Google Earth Engine, will describe how nonprofits, communities, and indigenous peoples around the world are using Google Earth to help solve pressing environmental and social issues. Now, this event is also a signature program of the Smithsonian Institution's Living in the Anthropocene initiative. The Anthropocene Committee was created by the Smithsonian Grand Challenges Consortia at the request of Secretary Wayne Clough and Undersecretary for Science Eva Pell as a pan-institutional effort to address the effects of climate change and other challenges on our environment, our biodiversity, and our culture. As research has compiled and compounded over the past several decades, it has become increasingly clear that the rapid planetary scale human alteration of the environment has been significant. This has led scholars to identify a new geological epoch in which we live, the Anthropocene, or the age of humans. It is also worthy to note that in May of this year, the National Science and Technology Council and the U.S. Global Change Research Program released the 3rd National Climate Assessment, Climate Change Impacts in the United States. This substantive report is the result of a 3-year analytic effort by hundreds of experts in participating organizations, including the Smithsonian Institution. I serve as a member of the Executive Committee of the Anthropocene Initiative, and as such, am delighted and honored to be moderating today's program on this vitally important topic. I look forward to an informative, lively, and intellectually engaging symposium. Before our formal program begins, just a few housekeeping reminders. Please, if you have a cell phone, take this opportunity to turn it off. We're recording and simulcasting this program around the country and the world. And after our last presentation this afternoon, our speakers will return to the stage, center stage here, and we'll have a question and answer session, so please hold your questions until then. Now, it's my great pleasure to introduce Aletha Tom. Aletha Tom is chairwoman of the Moapa Band of Paiute Indians of the Moapa River Indian Reservation located northeast of Las Vegas, Nevada. During her 2 terms on the Tribal Business Council, she has been in a key role for economic development, including solar projects, farm and agriculture, a sand and gravel operation, and the Moapa Travel Plaza and Casino. As a strong advocate for environmental reform, she is also deeply involved in the cultural preservation of the tribe and its lands and the higher education of its children. This March, she joined community government and energy industry leaders to celebrate the start of construction of the 250 megawatt Moapa Southern Paiute Solar Project. Located on the Moapa River Indian Reservation, the solar plant has a power purchase agreement to deliver clean energy for 25 years to the city of Los Angeles. Please help me welcome Chairwoman Aletha Tom.
Good afternoon. I'm Aletha Tom, Tribal Chairwoman for the Moapa Band of Paiute tribe. I am very pleased to be here today to talk about our tribe's venture with renewable energy. I've had the privilege of serving on the Tribal Council from 2010 to current, and now Tribal Chairwoman. I'm in a second term. My term ends in 2015. My parents are both from the Moapa Indian Reservation. They are both deceased at this time. I was raised on the reservation until at the age of 13 years old, which I was placed in a boarding school, Indian boarding school in Carson City, Nevada. I came home in the summer months and we relied upon the natural resources available to us. Oops. Okay, sorry about that. As I was growing up, we had no running water or electricity on the reservation. We depended upon the river water for drinking, cooking, and bathing purposes. At a very young age, an elderly woman told me a story about 2 elderly men that sat outside of their house in the winter months in the sun. They talked about a prediction of one day we would buy our drinking water. At that time, I thought that was impossible and crazy. Why would we have to buy water? When the elderly woman heard the story, she was just a young girl. She is no longer with us, she passed on. But that was a very interesting story to me. Today I'm here to share with you the story of my people. First of all, it has been said in our language that Moapa means mosquito water. Our reservation is located 50 miles northeast of Las Vegas, Nevada. We are a small tribe, around an amount of 350 tribal members. Our most recent business venture includes one of our most valuable natural resources, the sun, and how it is being used to generate green energy. I am certain that my parents and other tribal people, could never imagine that one day we would be working on such a business venture. I remember as a child, my cousins and I would play in the hills, which were our playgrounds. We didn't have any idea what an actual playground was. We would run and play in the sun without worrying about the bad air pollution. We now worry about our children due to the bad pollution in the air we have now. In their earlier years, we were able to eat off the land without worrying of animal defects in drinking water and in basking in the sun. The Moapa River Indian Reservation is located, like I said, in the northeast of Las Vegas, Nevada. The Moapa Band of Paiutes is part of a southern Paiute nation with a mission to preserve its homeland, particularly the 72,000-acre Moapa River Indian Reservation, by building an independent and self-governing community and providing opportunities for economic, educational, and cultural growth. The Paiutes respect and honor the land and all living things upon it, and the tribe has the ability to be a front runner in the clean energy field. The tribe also operates farms, the Moapa Travel Plaza, sand and gravel operation, and has other function plans for expansion at the Valley of Fire area. Let me see where am I at. I think this is. Okay, since the 1960s, the Reed Gardner coal-powered electric plant adjacent to our reservation has every year emitted more than 4,000 tons of nitrogen oxide, 1,200 tons of sulfur dioxide, and 5 million tons of carbon pollution into the air. Pollutes known to cause or exacerbate asthma attacks, lung disease, sinus problems, thyroid disease, and cardiovascular problems. Living in the shadow of Reed Gardner, the Moapa Paiutes have breathed that air and suffered from those health issues. No longer willing to bear the burden of the health risks associated with breathing in coal ash, we began working with groups such as the Sierra Club, Earth Justice, and Greenpeace to get the word out about our situation on Earth Day in 2010, April 22nd. The tribal members participated in a 3-day, 50-mile cultural healing walk. They marched sometimes in temperatures that topped 100 degrees. From the Moapa River Reservation to Las Vegas to protest the Reed Gardner. The last coal-powered plant in Nevada and Las Vegas, they were joined by Sierra Club members and others also protesting the Reed Gardner. Then at the August 7, 2010, National Clean Energy Summit in Las Vegas, Senator Harry Reid called Nevada Energy's Reed Gardner power stations a dirty relic and called for its closure to end the damaging environmental pressure and chronic illness. It produced in June 2013, the Nevada Assembly voted to order the shutdown of the plant, and Governor Brian Sandoval signed Nevada Senate Bill 123, which provides for closure by 2017. We are still working on issues related to cleanup. As Vicki Simmons, a leader of the Moapa Band of Paiutes Committee for Health and the Environment, stated, we are all looking forward to the retirement of the Reed Gardner coal-fired plant that has for decades polluted our reservation. And this is a great day for the Moapa Band of Paiute Indians and for Indian country as a whole, said Donald Dell, Laverdue Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Indian Affairs, about approval of the solar plant. As our nation's energy portfolio continues to grow, it is important that tribal communities have the opportunity to harness the energy of the wind and sun to power our homes, businesses, and economies. On March 21, 2014, U.S. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid joined representatives from Moapa Band of Paiutes, executive from First Solar, and the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, as well as other community, government, and energy industry leaders to celebrate the start of a construction of the Moapa Southern Paiute Solar Project. The project has a power purchase agreement with the Los Angeles Department of Water and power to deliver clean solar energy for 25 years to the city of Los Angeles. At the groundbreaking, Senator Reid said, today's event marks a very important milestone for Nevada, the Moapa Band of Paiutes, and tribal nations throughout the country. The Moapa Southern Paiute Solar Project is the first utility-scale solar project on tribal land and will deliver much-needed economic benefits to the tribe and Nevada. It will also create about 400 construction jobs and replace dirty energy with clean solar power. The power plant, anticipated to be fully operational by the end of 2015, is expected to generate enough clean solar energy to serve the needs of more than 93,000 homes. This amount of renewable energy will displace approximately 313,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide annually, the equivalent of taking about 60,000 cars off the road. The project will play a key role in the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power's efforts to build a clean energy future by expanding renewable energy to 33% of its total power supply and eliminating coal power. The Moapa Southern Paiute Solar is a significant step toward the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power's effort to achieve a major transformation of the city's power supply, one that has greater reliance on renewable energy resources and zero coal power. And even though we are still constructing this first solar plant, plans are underway now for a second one of our tribal land. The new 200 megawatt array not far from our first project will be built with the backing of Nevada Energy and is expected to generate enough electricity for about 60,000 homes. These projects are an important step in becoming a leader in the Indian country and will help to create a model for other tribes to follow. If our small tribe can accomplish this, then others can also. There are endless opportunities in renewable energy, and tribes across the nations have the availability on which. And the changes does not happen on its own. It is led by dedicated and passionate people who are committed to empowering Indian country, to energize future generations. The Moapa Band of Paiutes have struggled for generations. They have seen their lands pilgrimed by settlers and miners. This is important to our tribe, not because of acknowledgement, but because of those generations before me, those who survived while no other could. Senator Reed calls us the first people in Nevada. He acknowledged my people. This is important to our children to hear, to be proud of, as we move swiftly into the 21st century. There is nowhere else to go but forward in a manner that will benefit our children today and their future, to provide a reliable future. And I would like to extend a little more on the, recently I was here last week, the Senate doing a testimony on our extension of the bill and what the bill means to us. We want to get additional land for our surrounding our reservation. The bill would expand the 75,000 acre by about a quarter by putting into trust 26,565 acres currently controlled by the BLM and Bureau of Reclamation. The Moapa tribe consists of the 350 members, 200 of whom live on the reservation. We consider the land important to the Moapa tribe. This bill provides spaces for housing, economic, traditional uses, and cultural protection and preservation. And I'd like to thank you all for this. It means a lot to us. Thank you.